Hi, Aaron Fulk. How are you doing?
I wish that was your background all the time. I like it.
I know this is the high school glory. I have a son with strep throat, and I took him over to his grandma and grandpa's house to play a little bit to get him out of the house. But how are you doing today?
Is he around your parents? He's not going to get your parents sick, is he?
No, they're over there. They're watching TV. Just a great day with a sick kiddo at home.
What funny pictures of you are back there?
There's a little high school glory. There's a little football. There's a little baseball. There's little dances. Just anything you expect from high school.
Oh, you should have had one ready for us. Next time you're there, you're going to have one ready for
Oh
us.
my gosh, yeah, we'll have to get them going. But tell me about an award you just won. There's a nice little award. It's within reach because you just pulled it up.
Yes, it was just sitting here from a video I made, and so I just showed it.
That one.
Oh, this little
What that? So what is that?
have
What is
our
that?
award shelf up there in a second. No, you know what? It was actually really fun. You'll like it because you're a salesperson. I went to Miami a couple weeks ago for my coaching mastermind, and they did they did sales day and then operations day, right? It's just agency owners. And during the sales day, like you did all these sales courses, and then the last thing, which would usually be like a course, they did a workshop, and pretty much you took everything you did the day, and then they had a contest for who could set the most sales appointments between then and lunch the next day. And would you like to know how many I set?
How many?
I got second place, to be fair. I got second place out of almost 300 people. I set 19.
That is insane.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, that's crazy. So like for people out there watching, if you're really good at sales, you're setting maybe 2 to 3 meetings at most a week ahead of time or 2 weeks ahead. So to do that, 19 is just mind blowing.
Okay, but since this is a show that so many business people watch, can I tell you the trick of like
I would, yeah.
So it was like you could do 3 different types of sales appointments. They were each of the courses. And so we did a podcast one and using a podcast versus like that for your sales. And so on the attorney's side, that's why I can say it because nobody's on watching. On the attorney's side, we had never used the podcast except for one time. So we set 19 podcast things that now they go straight at. So we do that, and then we make a media kit, and then it goes straight into our sales cycle. And you've already it gets you in the door.
So you're getting them on a podcast.
So they come in the podcast, and then we set the meetings because we say, oh, we're going to do this free evaluation, and we give them the media kit. So it's just it takes 80 touches to get in front of someone now, right? So this is just you get to skip about 60 of those. And so I set 19, and then since then we've set another 20 just from that outreach I did that day.
So they're going on a podcast that you're hosting.
They come onto a 12-minute or less podcast that I jump on, and then they go into our sales cycle. They go straight to a sales meeting after that. Mm-hmm.
Man, oh man, you are, hey, that mastermind's worth every penny you invested in it.
Oh my God.
Hey, way to invest in yourself, Aaron Fulk.
I know. Okay. Well, okay.
Then one more thing before Evardy and Bestway International would want to know this. How many weeks have you been going to CrossFit?
I've been going for 3 months, 5 to 6 days a week, every week.
Hey, take Bestway International, Evardy Construction, except for Chris at Evardy Construction. He does a no carb diet. He looks good. Mm-hmm. But for the other boys and myself, Aaron's kicking everyone's butt.
I could probably lift more than you guys. Just kidding. You know what I'm starting with this week? I'm starting with a nutritionist. So she makes you take a 12-month thing where she teaches you about everything. So yeah, I'm on a whole new level. I'm going to be just like those 20-year-olds at CrossFit in no time.
There you go. You got it.
Let's talk business. Nobody wants to hear about this. We have Bestway International and Evardy Construction. Gosh, they've been our sponsors now for almost 2 years. Can you believe that? And they're the absolute best. We are going to have a Giving Day show December 2nd. Giving Day's in December, which is so weird this year. So a couple of their favorite nonprofits will come on, and we'll get to highlight those. It is heavy gala season. You got any galas on your schedule?
Nope. I try to avoid as many galas as I can. It's a different stage of life. Are you doing a bunch?
Well, I'm going to I volunteered. My daughter and I volunteered. We're going to do the live social media at New House Gala this weekend. Just kind of fun, right? She's 13. She likes social, and I know it a little bit. And then I've got big brothers, big sisters, and I think I'm kind of out of it too, like 2 or 3 a year at this point, right? I'll
Yeah,
donate.
that's so cool that you're sharing that moment with your daughter. That's awesome.
It'll be fun. Okay, so make sure you check out our sponsors. Please go follow them. I know Bestway International has a cargo cafe coming up in 2 weeks. As we get into this, God, it just gets crazier every week. So as the laws change weekly around here, make sure if you're doing any shipping that you go follow them. They're always once a month going over all the law changes. I've been helping produce those shows, and it's been a really cool stuff that I never even knew I wanted to know about with freight and shipping, and with holiday season, it's going to affect a lot of businesses. So, and then Evardy Construction, everywhere you go, they're building something in town. So
you got it. And they're hiring amazing people. Everyone that works for them, it's like, you got to have a really good sense of humor. If you have a good sense of humor, you can work there.
Well, everyone that I know that's ever worked there just loves it there too, right? So they've got a great team. They've got a great culture. Okay, if you are watching, let us know if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. Let us know if you're watching live or the replay. Nobody cares about us. Let's bring in our guests. How about that? All
right, blast the 80s rock here.
We didn't have very much time today. We were running a little bit behind, so I forgot to warn our guests about this terrible music we love. Here we go. All right. Today our guests are Glen and John. Hi guys. Welcome to November. How did that happen so fast? And John, we're sorry we didn't send you the memo about wearing blue. Next time we'll make sure we get you included, okay? Yeah. Sorry about that. All right, we're just going to jump into this. Okay, Glen, you're up first. Who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City?
Okay, well, thanks, guys, for having me first off. I'm Glen Dakan, a longtime fan of Scott Havens and longtime fan of the show, listener for several years. And Aaron, first time meeting you, so appreciate it as well. So yeah, I run a company called Blue Venture Advisors, and also I'm an airline pilot, but that's kind of my part-time gig for United Airlines. So here in Kansas City, Blue Venture Advisors has 2 or 3 partners. We have a few partners across different major metros throughout the U.S. I've been fortunate to move around the U.S. I've lived in Kansas City here since 2013, have a lot of friends and family across the country, and we have 3 business lines. We have private equity, we have healthcare, and we have defense. So I'm a 23-year Navy veteran, full career pilot, now shifted to the civilian role. And we do defense because of that background, some private equity stuff to include mergers and acquisitions and investment banking. And finally, healthcare. We started that in COVID. We've been continuing that. So Blue Venture Advisors, great shop, many different type of things, many different great leaders involved, some of them in Kansas City. How I got to Kansas City was I left active duty in 2012, moved here in 2013. My wife's originally from Joplin, and I've been going to Chiefs games since 2002. That's my claim to fame. So I've been going to Chiefs games a long time before I even moved here, and we've pretty much since settled down here. Kelly and I had met in Vanderbilt undergrad and moved around in the Navy, landed here, figured out this is a great place to be. We've been raising our kids here, growing our business here for that long.
Nice.
So talking about being a startup founder, what was one of the businesses you founded in Kansas City? And then what was the curveball that got thrown at you?
So what I failed to mention, I'm trying to keep the intro short, is I got out of active duty in Tampa, moved to Kansas City, and joined the reserves. So I was like, okay, done with my military time, do the once a month, 2 weeks a year thing, start a company called Pure Pursuit Automotive, and scaled that from 2013. Then the Navy called in late 2015 and said, hey, we know you just opened your business and got it scaled and you're ready to go, but you're going to be deployed for a year to the Middle East. Good luck with that. And basically bankrupted the company and myself, and pretty dark time. But that was a lot of fun when I first opened that up. I was a member of a group Scott founded called Top Gun, and we hosted meetings there and everything else. But they were very kind to keep in touch with me, support me the best that I could while I was overseas for a year. But came back and had to kind of pivot and shut that thing down. Kind of a painful memory, but certainly I've learned a lot since then.
At least you get the VFA mortgage. So
yeah.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I would talk about the how do you balance? I mean, I feel like those are 2 really big careers. You have your company, and then you're like, and my side gig is a pilot. How do you balance all of that and family and everything else?
Yeah, balance is a key thing. Luckily, with the airlines, they tend to, because a lot of people commute in. I commute into Chicago, for instance, to start work and end work, so that you can kind of pare that down. So you're not working 5 days a week, and you're working some weekends and things like that. So on average, I work about 10 to 12 days per month on the airline. But if you imagine when I'm in the airline trip, I have a lot of time in a hotel, overnights, things like that, and that's a great time to actually do business, not be on calls and stuff, so forth, but build products as needed for the client. So when I get home, I try to just be home. But my kids are older; they go to school. And if I'm at home on an off day from the airline, I might as well be doing something. I can only mow the lawn so many times, but yeah, the balance works out pretty good because I try to keep them both to be part time. I don't really do full time anything anymore, but I'm able to kind of bounce between those and keep the wife and kids at the forefront, right?
When you're hiring, we're going to get to John when he comes back, but when you're hiring, how does your military background help you hire?
So the first thing is that nationwide network I mentioned earlier. I have, if I have a friend, they have a friend of a friend that they are vouching for somewhere in almost every market in the country. So for us, because we do larger M&A deals and larger fundraising deals, not necessarily in Kansas City, some of the bigger markets, it really helps a lot knowing that I have either somebody I trust directly or somebody I trust and has worked with in the past. So I think that's really helpful for us. That's why I've been able to kind of get different partners that I just trust to run operations and deals in different cities.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. John, you're up. Who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City? John, are you there?
So there you go.
You can't hear us.
So fun fact, John, Stockton, and I live next door to each other. I'm not next door to him right now, but we are notorious for having no cell phone service. So
text him and tell him to come back. I think he got a call, and that's what happened. So text him, tell him to come back because I just kicked him out because that'll restart it.
Elon Musk, when Starlink comes out, that's the phone John and I are getting. So,
yeah.
Glen, were you a little jealous when Aaron talked about setting 19 meetings?
I'll help you with the podcast. Hey, I have a pilot question while we wait for John.
Sure.
Okay, so it took me a long time to be a good flyer because I have such control issues and I'm always the driver. Do you feel like a lot of pilots like to be really in control and that's why they became pilots, or is that just what I imagine?
I think that's one part of it, right? I myself, when I'm not flying the plane, I'm a little more anxious, when we're taking off and landing than I think I would be if I was up front. But I think it's interesting to me. The military folks I've known from my Navy flying career, we're all like one pilot. We're all one personality type. And at United, it's interesting. When you start, they kind of put you into corners and say, hey, what type of work do you like to do? And it's really interesting. The civilian world. There's 4 personality types. They run us through this thing called DISC. And I was shocked to learn that there are 4 personalities that can be pilots, because I'd always had the experience of there's one personality, it's alpha, it's the type of problem solver, it's the control freak, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, there's plenty of collaborators and there are plenty of other personality types. And they prove that, kind of in our new hire class by showing us different corners and then saying, hey, if you're across the cockpit from a different personality type, you're going to have to interact in a different communication way. So like I said, I think your inclination is right. Certainly fighter pilots and military pilots is probably a certain type of personality set.
Do you fly? How often do you fly with the same person? Because I feel like that chemistry's got to be important.
Never. We never, ever. So the operations are so big. Kansas City is a very Southwest town because that's kind of, they have the most gates, and United has 5 gates here. And I was talking to you guys before the show that at somewhere like Newark, we have 130 gates. At somewhere like Denver, we're going to have 200 gates. The operations are so big. I'm based in Chicago. We're growing into 150 gates. So there's thousands of people at each one of our bases, thousands of pilots really, and you're just never going to see anybody again. You come, you say hi, and so it's really important to standardize how we do things, and they do a really good job of that.
That's crazy. John, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, nobody touch anything. Everybody put your hands away. John, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Oh, well, let's start with the last question first because it's by far the most interesting. So after college, I went to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I thought I wanted to be a property and casualty underwriter. So I learned very quickly what I didn't want to do for a living. So at the time, my fiance and I migrated from Cedar Rapids to Kansas City. So we are first generation Kansas Cityans. That happened in 1988. So flash forward today, I am a retired Aetna employee from 2024, and now I'm an independent benefits consultant.
Are you still with that fiance?
Pardon me?
Are you still with that same fiance?
Yeah, oh yeah. After
Christy.
36 years of marriage, yeah.
I felt like he wouldn't have brought her up if he wasn't, right? Because he would have been in trouble with whoever he was with now if he would have brought
Yeah.
her up.
So,
Go ahead,
so
Scott.
John, talk a little bit about the businesses that you help consult for today and what makes you really excited about those businesses.
You know, the world of healthcare, that's a great question, Scott. Healthcare is changing so rapidly, and point solutions are coming through the woodwork, and consultants are having trouble discerning what's of value and what's not. So today I'm working with a couple of clients, spending most of my time. One of them is Bexa. Bexa is the next generation of mammogram. It's ultrasound only, no radiation. They're able to scan denser tissue. It's fascinating. So they're not trying to replace mammograms, but the big hurdle for Bexa is our existing system. Radiologists, cancer is profitable. It's kind of a nefarious thing to talk about, but it's true. So spending time working with Bexa, also with Dago Health. What's fascinating with Dago Health, I'm working in a lane that they call gig care. Gig care is for 1099, so non-W2. So we're selling into the healthcare space for independent contractors. And, you know, the fascinating thing is what's happening right now in the ACA is really exacerbating what we're doing in the marketplace today.
Chris Rock, do you remember when he said that there's no money in the cure?
Yeah.
Answer. I've always thought that, John. You and I are on the same stage. Awesome. All right, we're going to get into the next question, Scott, now that we're back on track.
Glenn, what is the most pivotal point in your career? And you can have multiple points.
Sure. I think I hinted at it earlier, but I was kind of on a track where I'd self-funded a business in 2013, sold, a lot of cars. It was in the car space. And I was like, hey, I want to kind of do an online dealership. And everything was going good. And I was like, I want to build software around that and raise venture capital. And everything was clicking right along until a major wrench got thrown into that. It's called the U.S. Navy, and it's called some work we did out in Yemen, of all places. And so these things flare up, and I got called out. And so that was very, very painful to go through. From about I was gone all in 2016, and I should have, looking back, I should have just kind of shut the company down, rolled it up, and hoped to reattack it when I got home, because I was just gone for so long without leadership, and I was funding it. So I made the not correct decision. But at the end of the day, it really helped me to develop into somebody who could deal with a failing business, start another one, make it successful, learn those lessons. I would have applied minor lessons along the way, but to have a major lesson application and say, hey, can I do this again? Do I want to do this again? And then the other thing I did was I said, okay, I did the full-time entrepreneur thing from about 2013 to 2020. And one thing that I really realized with wife, kids, and kind of that the commitment is I need multiple income streams, right? And so that's something that really, I kind of took to heart in about the 2018, 2019 era as I was trying to figure out, can I do it again? And so that's the most pivotal thing. And right now, the multiple income streams are, U.S. Navy pension and wrapping that whole thing up, and then coming into the airline career, which is highly lucrative and semi part-time, and then obviously building out opportunities in the finance space, defense space, because I'm able to, because I'm not scrambling all the time to pay the bills, and also for my employees. How I set up my company is equity partners and 1099 contractors versus W2 employees, inventory, expensive boutique downtown, all this kind of stuff that you just have to cover the nut every month. So like I said, just it works for me. It may not work for everybody else, but certainly that's been a pivotal role. And Scott kind of watched me through that journey. Took several years, and here we are, right?
I feel like your fifth line is that you get to fly your family for free, so that's saving a lot of money.
We take advantage of that. We do.
You also strike me as trying 1,000 different things and now really being wildly focused and intentional.
Yep.
And making money.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We don't do it if it doesn't make money, and we try to do it when it gives social good and it helps people along. But at the end of the day, that's one thing that early on, Scott, maybe about say 10 years ago, we'd try some things just to see if it worked. without really much more of a business plan than that. And that's, focus seems to be something that we've worked on a long time ago.
So, John, what were the most pivotal points in your career?
I would say, Scott, it relates to, what happens when you step outside of your comfort zone.
You grow.
You grow. So, working for a Fortune 5 company with 300,000 employees, and I was a market head most of my career, running a sales team. And in 2013, I stepped into a role running our accountable care solutions, where I was working with large healthcare systems, negotiating specific products that steered into their systems, upside downside risk. I went in not knowing a lot, but I did it for 4 years and came out so much stronger than I would have ever been had I not gone through that and taken the time to learn it. And then I would say the second time related to that is I'm a big culture guy. I just knew it was time for a change at the end of this past year. So retiring from that after 25 years and venturing into the world of, I just wanted to do my own thing, to be an independent contractor, to represent, and having been a W-2 employee my entire career, and walking away from the Aetna family was hard, but it was the right thing for me to do.
Now, are you loving all the benefits of being your own boss?
Yeah, I think I work harder now than I ever have, though. So that's part of the irony of it, right? And now I'm just now realizing all the benefits of being a 1099. It's not that bad a gig.
Awesome. All right. So, Glenn, it's already November of 2025. So how are your 2025 goals going, and how can the Kansas City community help you?
Good. The one thing I didn't mention is Scott knows this. I'm still unpacking boxes. I just moved back from Stuttgart, Germany. So we had left my final military tour.
We didn't know if Glenn could be on the show because they were going to show up with his boxes from the military.
And this is like a multi-phase thing. So just doing my second overseas transoceanic move in the year. So that was kind of my capstone tour, if you will. I just got done working for European Command out in Stuttgart, Germany. So rented out our house here in Kansas City. We've done this before. I'd worked at Special Operations Command. That's what I was asking Scott in 2021. So as a reservist, about every 3 years, they want to get you to where you're deploying or that you're doing something in active duty. So this is my final deal. So 2025 for the business sense and taking leave from United has been very military focused, as you can imagine. So haven't accomplished much, but the plans for 26 are to reintegrate into the Kansas City community, do more business here. The past deals that we've done have been in Texas and other places like that. And so I'd like to let people know what we're doing here at Blue Venture when it comes to M&A, when it comes to anybody that's doing defense work that may that's building innovation that could be sold into the U.S. government or NATO. And then finally, your standard, like, hey, I'm raising money, type of thing. We do bond deals exceeding $100 million, and we do equity deals exceeding $20 million. So anybody who's raising larger sums of cash in the city would be very helpful to know, because the investment banking services may help with that, right? So that's my goals for 26. But yeah, looking back to 25, not much time.
Well, I don't know. You just served the country for your life and retired with full benefits, so that you accomplished a huge goal. So
I think, you're right. That's
maybe the best goal of ever is 2025.
I think you're right. That's a good one.
Did you get back from Germany?
I came back about a month ago. Yeah. So I've been unpacking and trying to reintegrate and fix the house up and get the kids in school and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I was just looking into flights to Germany yesterday. They have the best gut health med spa that you go stay at for 2 weeks, and they heal everything in Germany. It's gorgeous.
You're going to need that, because when you get done with Oktoberfest, which is the first thing I did when I got off active duty, we had a big crowd out there. Then we went to Stuttgart, has a similar festival called Folksfest. So we did both of those back to back for a week. We had a giant crowd. I had 17 people fly out. And so you're going to need the gut health thing when you're done drinking German beer every day. So.
That's well, thank you again for your service. That's amazing. I think you had a pretty successful 2025. All right, John, how about you? It's your first year as an entrepreneur. So how is your 2025 goals going, and how can the Kansas City community help you?
I would just suggest there is a mega tsunami that's on the near horizon with the ACA and what's going on. Our government is shut down due in large part to what's going to happen with these subsidies. But even independent from the ACA subsidies, the base rates are going up north of 23%. Kansas rates are going up 30. Arkansas is going up 36. Illinois is going up 29. So there's major problems on the near horizon. This impacts 23 million Americans. So what we are doing is marketing an individual product on a group chassis. So we're targeting a lot of independent contractors, associations, and really trying to solve for what's broken on the ACA. So it's an exciting time. That enrollment just started this past Saturday. So it's a busy time for us all.
So, John, if you're a small business owner like Aaron, who has at any time 5 or 15 employees on our plan, could she participate with gig care and then get her employees on gig care?
So gig care doesn't replace comprehensive coverage or W-2s. We're specifically targeting independent contractors or for part-timers who aren't eligible for their group plan at their employer. So we're happy to help. We are, there's some dramatic growth going on right now in our company. It's a 4-year-old TPA with about 150,000 members, but I expect us to double within the next year.
Yeah, but say you're a small business owner, like this is just getting way too expensive. Can you transition them to 1099s knowing that they're going to get healthcare coverage?
That is happening. So we've had employers drop their comprehensive plan and offer up what we're doing on the gig space with the Tego Health. So we're happy to have those conversations with those guys.
But then it's
I see that as the future as well for small groups.
It's so tricky to change them to 1099s though, right? Because then you can't even provide their like laptops. Like they're so
right.
Too.
Exactly. And there's a bunch of IRS rules you have to hit, and you have to think about are they
Yeah.
working every day the same thing, and you have to train them. I mean, it's not as easy as flipping that switch, right?
So
Leave it to the non-entrepreneur to throw out a crappy idea. So I take it back.
Like, it's actually really dangerous, but I don't want to say that. And I definitely don't want to say I'm doing that here because I don't do that. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. John, I feel like you're 20, there's always a few industries that do really well. Like I was in property management apartments in 2012, right? So I did pretty well in 2012, 2013. So I feel like you're in a good industry when the world is changing for this.
The gig economy by 2027 is going to be 100 million Americans. So realtors, drivers, wealth advisors, hospitality, it's a broad suite of verticals that we serve.
Yeah, that's crazy. Awesome. Glenn, what's the best way to connect with you? LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn is great. My name is really easy to find, except it's easy to misspell. So Glen and then Dakan. I should be the only one on there. There may be another guy in the West Coast. He's an old guy that does woodworking. So if you run into that guy,
there is another guy.
And I have no relation to him. I've done the genealogy. But there's only 2 Glen Dakans. So there you go.
And then John, what's the best way to connect with you?
I would suggest LinkedIn as well. I'm out there, Kansas City. There's only one.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, both of you guys actually have people's names because I always have to go find your pictures for this. So make sure you guys should put Google alerts on your names so that you know what goes out. One time there was an Aaron Fulk that did not great things, and I was able to get ahead of it because that wasn't me. So when there's multiple people, I think you're the only Havens though, Scott.
Yeah, he's the one and only.
There's a guy that did the voice of Scooby-Doo. I think his name's Scott Havens.
You also have a great voice, but it's just a different voice than that guy.
That's right. Yeah, different than Scooby.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank both Glenn and John for coming on today. And thank you so much to Bestway International and Evardy Construction for being the best sponsors ever. And thank you, Scott Havens, for being the very best co-host ever. We will see you same time, same place next week. See you guys.